Welcome back, NU Auto. We are here with Leighton Billups, a sophomore at Northwood University, and Elgie Bright, the automotive professor, department chair. Elgie, Leighton, it's good to have you guys here.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Owen.
Yeah,
It is great to be here. Thank you.
absolutely. Elgie, how about you give us a rock star introduction? You always make our classes do it, when we have guest speakers and professors and whatnot. So let's get it on the other end of the spectrum and just tell us who you are, where you're from, something cool about you, and what you're gonna plan on doing this summer.
All right, I like it, Owen. I'm Elgie Bright. I get the wonderful opportunity to chair the automotive department at Northwood University. Something cool about me is I'm a huge jazz fan.
Okay.
And so I go to the Detroit Jazz Festival every year, usually when I'm traveling, if I can go to a club or go to some outing that has a jazz band. I love live music, and jazz is it just kind of speaks to improvisation, and it's kind of avant-garde. So that's the cool thing, cool jazz. And this summer, I am excited because we are going to produce the first automotive themed residential camp, full tank automotive camp. And I am so excited. We are working on it now. Northwood is good at camps. We have done lab camp for years. Think of our BPA and DECA students involved in lab camp. We do sports camps, but this is the first one that's going to be a residential camp that is automotive themed. And I couldn't be more excited about it.
That's awesome. What's like I know there's a main sponsor for it. It was GM had provided the money for that. So
yeah, GM was very generous in underwriting. We've got a number of other companies, specifically CDK, that's going to provide some funding and underwriting, and we're partner with some others, some local dealerships, some partner organizations such as the Automotive Hall of Fame. So we're going to have programming, northwood.edu full tank camp, April 1st, to be able to get all the information in terms of programming, registration. But we're excited about full tank automotive camp.
Sweet. That'll be a great way to get some of the younger generation involved with automotive. So, yes. Well, hey, before we go on, let's try the drink of the day, strawberries and cream Dr. Pepper.
I love it.
Just released. Myself some right here. Leighton.
Thank you.
Try not to get it on the podcast equipment.
Yeah,
and Leighton's going to get it for Elgie.
It's cold too.
Yeah, nice and cold.
Nice cold.
Look at that.
There. Cheers.
Cheers. In the pink cup too. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
That's good.
That's got like the classic Dr. Pepper taste with some strawberry and cream, just how they advertise it.
Tastes
Right?
like there's strawberry puffs.
Uh-huh.
The candy shop I used to work at had them everywhere. Tastes exactly like that.
That's not bad.
That's one that you can enjoy for a long time.
Smells very sweet though. It smells incredibly sweet.
Smells good. Well, hey, Elgie, what brought you into the automotive industry? Kind of like your initial push to get into the automotive industry, and kind of what has led that passion to continue growing? Big question.
I think I'm a product of Michigan. Automotive obviously is a big part of our economy. My dad worked at a gray iron foundry in Muskegon. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I thought it would be probably something around automotive. When I graduated from college, I had worked in college at a local Kmart doing oil changes and tire rotations, and took a job as a district manager in their automotive department afterwards. And at that time, it was run by Uniroyal. And so just had a wonderful kind of early entry into the automotive space. As a junior technician, I certainly was not a heavy tech or anything like that, or had extensive tools like you see some of the toolboxes.
Yeah.
Just kind of an entry into, and then got a chance to kind of manage the departments as a entry-level position with Kmart. Wonderful thing out of that, more than my career in automotive, is I met my wife at Kmart some 38 years ago. And that has been great. 3 daughters and a dog. Dog today, certainly not a 38-year-old dog, but dog
That'd be
today.
something.
That would be some
World
world
record dog.
record. But that led me to just serendipity. Somebody I went to school with was working at a dealership.
Mhm.
And they, and just comparing notes said, you're traveling and doing these different initiatives. Have you ever considered, automotive retail? And I hadn't, and I did, and that led to a 10-year career with Art Moran in management, retail management. That led me to a 22-year career with General Motors, mostly in field-facing positions. I did do some office work in marketing and what they call distribution, which is working with inventories and motorsports, but mostly field-facing, district sales, service, parts, finance, and just loved again retail operations. And that's actually through a transfer to this area through General Motors. I was introduced to Northwood University by a couple of people on my zone team and the auto show. The auto show had us bring out some vehicles for the Pontiac Solstice for those out there that remember that division, but a couple of great alumni, Margall and Joe Gartland, showed me around the campus, and I got to meet great students. Saw the auto show, and I remember I went home, told my wife what was happening up here, and I was ready.
You're rattled by it.
Yes, I was jazzed. I was certainly enthused, and then Dr. Matt Bennett, who's here now, he was putting together a cohort for a master's program. At that time, it was called Dealership Executive MBA. I became part of that for the next 30 months and graduated, and then doing the guest lectures and like we have now, coming into the classroom and sharing thought leadership and subject matter expertise. I raised my hand when the gentleman that had the position previous to me was seeking other opportunities. I was like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And the interview process and amongst other candidates, I was fortunate enough selected as chair. So I've been doing it now for 11 years, and I love every minute of it. And I think you two are representative of the best of what we do at Northwood University, all the experiential activities, really getting involved in our, not only our chosen major, but with the university at large. So for me, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like a calling.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it sounded like your automotive journey was kind of all over the place, right? I mean, you started in Kmart and kind of worked your way through and whatnot. So what do you have to say to like students that might be stressed out or like kind of nervous as to they don't know how to get to their end goal, and so but they can't quite see that track of like they can go through a lot of different paths to get to the end goal?
Yeah, we just had a great guest today that from Cox Automotive, one of our great partners, and if there's a word that I can give to college students that are coming out into this industry, it's just resilient. It's not that you're going to love every minute of every day of every month of your automotive journey or any journey. It's just being resilient to step into or lean into the opportunities that's put before you. Automotive is ever changing, and skills themselves are transferable. So if you're really around relationships, if you're process driven, you understand the financials and how to create profitability, or what interests your partner, in this case dealers, and or the factory, the OEM, the vendors, this whole ecosystem, you realize that every day is a new adventure. And so I tell anybody on a journey, just start with day one. If you can get through day one, then you can worry about day two. And then, and every day that you step into your job is a day closer to whatever's next, whether that be next week, next month, next year, or a career. And that's really it. I mean, you really take a big picture view of your career, but don't be so worried about what's next that you forget about today. And you know, if you don't lie, cheat, or steal, you know, you can everything can be corrected, analyzed, adjusted. Change is just part of our business.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been quite a bit of change in the automotive business recently, hasn't there?
For
So
sure, for sure.
we've had uprising of EVs and
EVs.
and direct to consumer and all those ideas around that. But
And I mean, all good ideas. I mean, I believe the franchise system works. I love our retailers that are out there. Certainly, direct to consumer has some merit in some places. But all in all, I believe consumers just are looking for a good experience. And I think the dealer gives the best experience, especially in automotive, both on the sales and service end. You know, there's been a few people. You think about, you know, high-end collectible car, and you don't want anyone else to touch it. You know what you want. In that case, you know, if it comes directly to you, you know, some hand-built one-off, I can see that.
yeah,
But everything else is really the best experience is done through a dealer.
yeah, I'd have to agree with that too, just because it kind of like dealerships foster that competitiveness nature too. So like it's crazy to think about all the different dealerships that are out there, you know, and all the differences each one makes.
And
Yeah.
all the different styles that each one has.
Yeah, absolutely.
All competing for consumers' business.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you're going to put your best foot forward, you know, if you want to dominate it in your marketplace.
I guess a question that kind of just came up in my mind is, LG, if you had to just pick up and run a dealership like right now, what would be like your main focus around it? Like, how would you build the like idea behind it? I guess. Like, if that makes any sense.
No, that's great. I mean, I would start with relationships, and the first relationship would be with my employees. You want high CSI, a good customer satisfaction experience. It begins with great employee satisfaction. So I would try to build my organization. You guys hear me say all the time, you want better results, get better people, and that's not dismissive of anybody who isn't interested in our business. I think people can be coached, but it's like sports. You know, you want better results. You know, get those people that are vested in, you know, your processes. You know, going forward. You know, one of the famous coaches said, you know, row the boat. And so if you're all rowing in the same direction, you tend to get better results. And so I would start with relationships, and then certainly when you're given a great customer experience, mastery over the financials and the processes that lead towards success. Those are the places I'd start. I would preach and coach every day. I wouldn't leave anything to chance. If you think about it's March Madness going on out there, and you watch those coaches on the sideline, you know, they're into it.
They are.
And so I think that's the same with some of our better management at retailers. They're into it.
And actually, I got to give a shout out to John Murphy because he said into it. Yesterday, he was, we actually went below the McCardle building, and that's where we're going to start moving some of the files and whatnot. And absolute dust storm down there.
Okay.
And Murphy comes down there with the broom and he's sweeping it all off and making it all clean for me to, you know, go down there. And I'm like, what other GSM would just come down here and get his hands dirty with this? Like, you know, leave the desk. So absolutely, like
Shout out to John Murphy.
Yeah, leaving the desk to come do some things most people probably wouldn't, but it's all just for the better of the dealership. So I think that's can be seen in a lot of different dealerships. It's just something I saw firsthand yesterday. So.
I see a lot of that. You know, management is in at least in the car business. I mean, roll up your sleeves. Let's get it done. And you know, the speed of the shop is the speed of the boss. And again, like coaching, you know, that you guys are young and involved in athletics. It's some form, some level, but you understand going through the wall for a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that inspires you, somebody that helps you to believe that, that you can achieve some level of success.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are inspiring.
Yeah.
And it can be that certainly in retail automotive.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of what you bring to the students here too at Northwood is, you lead with such passion and drive that it brings all the students along with you, even if they want to kind of sit back and they're not normally like that, it brings them out and brings them forward. So, and whatever they're trying to do. So
I appreciate that. I mean, I certainly love what I do. I certainly love the students that are here, and to think that they want to make a living in this business to me is pretty inspirational in itself. So if I can, add just a drop of inspiration into that mix, I certainly try to do that.
Yeah. And hey, like, didn't you have a question about like what do you be doing if
Yeah. So I had a question. If you weren't in the automotive industry, what would you be doing?
I think I'd probably be coaching. So Leighton, I know you're a tennis player. Maybe it's tennis. Maybe it's basketball. Football. I really see a manager's role as coach. So it'd probably be coaching somewhere, maybe a little league team.
Or the Lions.
Yeah.
Or the
Yeah.
Lions.
I was gonna say, you don't have to downplay it.
Yeah,
You could easily be Lions
You
head
could go to
coach.
the
Dan
Lions.
Campbell better watch out.
Yeah.
I'm on the hype train right now. Certainly they certainly did well last year, especially the second half, and that was inspirational for me. But I love trying to bring the best out of people. I want to see tears in my eyes. It's working with like Special Olympics. Watching those young people compete. My daughter's got a chance to work with them through our school district, and I can see myself, Special Olympics. I know there's a new movie out there, Champions. To watch the underdog story, watch somebody that some 6 or 7 year old little league team that might not know how to throw and catch, but at the end of the season shows mom or dad, hey, look, I caught her. To me, that's pretty inspirational.
Yeah, those little sparks, that just create somebody's whole upbringing and lifestyle that follows them through their whole thing.
Yeah.
But well, cool. We're gonna go through some lightning round questions now.
All right.
Something I wanted to ask is, what's your favorite food? Like whether it's like restaurant or like your go-to order maybe, or just like homemade food in general. What gets Elgie going for some food?
My wife does a really, really nice job with fish, catfish. So I'm a big seafood guy.
Okay.
I certainly live in the moment, so I got a chance to enjoy Grazie yesterday with our Cox sponsors. So Italian food that kind of gets to the right space. But if it really, really boiled down to it, I'm a pizza guy.
Absolutely, me too.
What
Yeah.
are your top 3 toppings?
I'd probably go traditional, so probably mushroom, pepperoni, and probably throw some ham on there.
Oh,
yeah.
That's good.
So,
That's good.
Yeah, that's probably a go. And for us West Siders, like we'd have to get you over there in Muskegon. There's a place called Scribniv's.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
so they have a pretty good pizza.
Scribs is really good. Comes in a paper bag, pretty much. You rip it open and you get the square slice
That's
experience.
awesome.
And
Oh, it's square slices.
Yeah.
well, it's a round pizza.
Round pizza, but one thing I like about at least the Scribs that I get, I love to get the thin crust. So I know in Michigan, New York or Chicago, deep dish, Detroit and all that. But Scribs has a thin crust pizza that I just enjoy.
Yeah. Not to mention, have you tried their steak bites?
They're good too.
Those steak bites are really good.
Steak bites.
I know. I've
Hungry.
never seen them anywhere else. I feel like, but like it's like a deep fried steak bite. So good, dude.
Ooh.
Come in a little bag.
Next question. I know you said you like jazz.
Yes, I do.
Who's your favorite artist?
I'm a probably traditional guy, Miles Davis.
Okay.
And I love, his different bands that he had, Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, some of the players the sidemen that played with him. We just lost Wayne Shorter in the jazz world. But Miles Davis is probably, one of my favorite artists. I just love all different forms of jazz, but Miles probably hits the spot.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and hey, today you talked a lot about the importance of like relationship building and how that plays into all aspects of your life and career. What kind of sparked that for you? Like, was it building relationships early on and you saw like results from it? Or
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody wants to be included. And so you think about even on the playground, it's, if somebody taps you to be on a team, you already feel special.
yeah.
And I think early in my career, of course, we didn't have the tools and technology, no internet. So you're knocking on doors. And so I think through just the process of cold calling and having a few doors slammed in your face and learning to deal with rejection, I mean, that's a huge part of sales. Learning to overcome objectives. When people object to certain parts of your pitch, you just get better and better at just building the relationship. And after a while, it's not really about the product. It's about you and that other person. And so you're recognizing their wants, needs, and desires, but you're really listening with intent. So if they're talking about their family or if they're talking about some vacation they're going on, you're into that conversation. And one thing that I know to be true is that people like doing business with people they like. They just do. And so whether that is the most elementary thing or whether it is the most advanced thing, that's something that I teach, is just be likable. Dick Garber, who has a local dealership here in town, and he was speaking at commencements, and he said something just so profound. It was just be a good person.
Yeah.
So those things, I think they're part of my upbringing. I got raised in the church, so I'm a person of faith. So, part of that is always, looking out for the person next to you, your neighbor, as we always say. And, that's building relationships. And so it just carried over into my professional career that, the person that walks through the door that, wants some product that I have matters. And so if I could build a relationship with them, then I'd have more success than not. And so, yeah, I think it just carries over from your personal to your professional.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to see there's so much meaning behind building relationships and you're not just, pushing it to students just because you think, that's, what's better or whatever for everybody, but there's actual meaning behind it. So that's great. So.
Yeah, and it really does go beyond the professional for me into the personal. Whether we were talking, not a 38-year-old dog, but I was talking about my dog earlier. And, you're from one conversation to another with people. We're talking, personal relationships. How's your family? How are what was your day like yesterday? Whether you hunt, fish, golf, play tennis. Watching those interactions to me is just so interesting. And I know everybody isn't into conversation. I think our business, whether you're introspective or really outgoing over the top, I think there's a place for it. And those relationships matter no matter what your personality is. And for me, like I said, they go from person to professional. I just always seem to be on.
Yeah.
When I want to go home, it's, my neighbors matter. They're not buying a car, but they matter. You need help on your roof, you need your snow shoveled. I mean, if I can help, I will. And they the same with me, and it just kind of builds communities. So it's pretty meaningful.
Awesome.
Yeah, actually, interactions like that have helped me a lot with making connections.
Sure.
Like especially at these like trade shows that we've been to.
Sure.
Like just saying like a little interaction and then having like common interest just sparks something like huge.
Well, I watched you today when Brian Finkelman asked you about tennis.
Yeah.
And then he's a tennis fan.
Yeah.
And so you two going back on, and I might not watch the match, but watching you guys interact on these, pretty important, tennis matches out there is, I mean, it's a simple thing, but yet he can, and it's something that he remembers,
Right.
He says, talking to Leighton today in class was because he's into tennis.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there's got to be common interest between everybody. Like there's got to be
Sure.
something you and I both like,
Sure.
Yeah.
and you'll come across it eventually, I think. So,
And it's
in
discovery, right?
conversation,
Especially if you're a relationship person, you're going to be looking for that.
mhm.
Again, I use hunting a lot because I'm not a hunter, but I know in Michigan a lot of people
A lot
are.
of people are, yeah.
And so if you're speaking about it, I can, and it's not feigning interest. I'm really interested
Mhm.
in knowing more about something. Again, in class today, he mentioned curiosity. Being people that are curious. So
Mhm.
you're a lifelong learner at that point. Well, learning to me happens in these interactions along with the books, the magazines, the industry news.
Mhm.
Every day you can get something from someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And something that Brian said in his lecture today that actually that stuck with me is being a student of the game.
Yes.
That one stuck with me a lot today.
Yes.
I can't get that out of my head.
Yep. And see, that'll be something that you'll pass on, to people. You pick up things when you're young and you're using those, throughout your career as you become a leader. And, you make those things your own, when you're coaching or, inspiring somebody, trying to bring out the best of them, just that simple phrase, be a student of the game, and it connects with somebody. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for your time today, Elgie.
thank you,
Appreciate
It's
you
been
guys.
great having you on for our first podcast.
Thank you.
We're gonna get this posted up so everybody and all our viewers can see it. And thanks again, Leighton, for taking the time to join in and be co-host with this.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see you guys next week.